And we are recording, Mr. Mo.
I'm ready, but I'm panicked because my box of Kleenex ran out. So
Oh,
if I have to blow my nose, I only have my sleeve and
no.
like
Simo.
I only have my sleeve and
Stuck
God.
under the couch, and your undershirt too, and
My crunchy socks.
yeah, that dirty rag behind the couch that no one is allowed to touch but you.
I broke it in half last week.
That's right.
It snapped.
It's the board.
It snapped like a potato chip.
CMO safety wears stiff as a board, light as a feather. Ah! Oh yes,
Hey, hey, Carlos, guess what I'm doing right now?
That's Is that an earthquake? Oh no. It's a one-handed earthquake there. Just in
When
your
you
apartment. That's
jack
wild.
off
That
when
is
Julie's out
wild.
of town, do you light a candle and play sexy music?
For myself, no.
Yeah.
I
You should.
play
You need to love yourself.
I play hardcore metal,
Yeah.
like Corn when they're like,
No one can wine and dine me more than I wine and dine myself. I'll tell you
That's
that.
right. Oh shit. Yeah, my O face is the band Disturbed.
Oh, I remember from that video that was posted during pledging. We've all seen your O face. The world's
That's
seen
right.
your O face.
That's right. It's a fantastic O face. You can get to it too quickly though. That's three. You've
Carlos
seen it
does what
3
he can
times.
to make mommy proud.
That's right. Anywho,
And you yelled out, "Hiawatha!"
that's right. So shout out to my mom. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this in 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the Frat Chat Podcast.
All young men like 3 things. Food, news, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with Chris CMO Moore. How's it going, Mr. Mo?
Good. I had to travel next week and the week after, and I'm gonna be all over the place. But I will still be recording next week and the week after. I'm ready.
You're gonna be in San Francisco, right?
Yep, a few places. And I know maybe I should like reach out and try to do some open mics while I'm there to test out some new material. You should talk to Dan Frank about doing his new material night. It's a fun night. So where you do your show at QED, the last Thursday of the month, I think, is when he does new material night, and it's all these professional comedians. They're treating it like an open mic.
Totally.
Because like when you go to an open mic with a bunch of youngsters and you're like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a long day. Well, this is a little bit more structured and like it's a little bit more it's just a good night. It's a fun time. I recommend it. So I want to try out some new material in San Francisco. I'm out there.
Some San Francisco material.
I know what New York is like. I don't know what California is like. I don't know what the
Californians are fun. They're a fun audience.
Yeah.
At least, well, I've never done comedy in San Francisco, but LA, Burbank, and shit, done out there, and they are fun. It's not that well, I can't say it's not that different from New York because it is, because the people are totally different. But being like a big entertainment mecca, it's a wide taste of comedy, like New York City in that sense, because New York City is also a big mecca for comedy, you know. So you'll find different flavors everywhere you go, and if you're funny, they will laugh. That's like the, you know, same thing as New York though. If you suck, don't blame the audience. Like we all bomb. Don't get me wrong. Everybody bombs every once in a while, where it is the audience's fault. But like if you constantly suck, like if you're don't get laughs 10 out of 10 times, it's you, not the crowd. You know. So
You know what?
you're
I
fun. You like it.
I did a joke the other night about Ed Hardy shirts,
Oh yeah,
and I did it again another place, and everyone was young, and they just didn't know what Ed Hardy
get
was.
it. Yeah, I
They had
get
no
it.
idea, and I was like, "Oh wow, I thought everyone knew." But when we were in college, everyone wore Ed Hardy T-shirts, Affliction T-shirts. It was like such like it's like Euro trash like attire, you know.
Totally.
No one
Yeah, no.
remembers.
Like the Jersey Shore dudes all wore
Yeah, we've come a
Ed
long
Hardy.
way.
Yeah, from the Ed Hardys and the fake tans and
Hmm. The
like there
spiky
was
hair that looks like a porcupine.
yeah, there was a period where like the girls that I thought were hot in high school, now that I look back on it, it's like they look like Hulk Hogan. It's like every
Yeah,
girl had like this like fake tanner that it was like orange. Or at the time, I was like, oh, this is what's hot because like Paris Hilton, all the other girls fucking did it. But now looking back and it's like, man, you literally all look like fucking Hulk Hogan.
and their hair was so over processed and like
Yes,
crunchy.
it's like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
It's literally like Hulk Hogan. They were just
yeah,
missing
that's
the
true. That was mostly the Zeta sorority. Zeta, they were like all
sure.
cookie cutters, the same image.
Yeah, but man, it was everywhere. Like there's some girls now that I see who are, you know, I'm 38, so you think I would say our generation's age better than generations past. But like I see girls who now look way hotter than they did in high school or in college because like back then they were fucking orange and now like they're fucking not, you know, like they're like actually going outside for the sun to get a tan. And it's a huge difference. So if you're thinking about fake tanning, you know, go light on it. So that's
You
my
know
other
what?
tip.
There was this guy at my local bar who was like drunk and like picking on me a little bit, and he kept telling me that I dress like a lesbian. I mean, I kind of do.
Oh, yeah.
I think that my if I were to define my fashion, it would be very much aligned with what Ellen used to wear on her talk show.
Yeah, to be fair, you could totally be what's call it? Um Jane Lynch's body double if she ever
Yeah.
needs it. You guys have the same
Like
haircut
right
too.
like right now I'm wearing like, a track like pullover, I like track pants and, bootcut jeans and
You look like
Converse.
if you're finding Where's Waldo in the bathhouses. That's where he's what he
Yeah,
is.
pretty much. But this guy was like, "You dress like a lesbian," he kept making fun of me, and I was like, "Why? I don't think that anyone in this bar cares about what we're wearing. I think it's what's underneath that matters. Are you comfortable taking your shirt off right now and comparing?" And he was like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "You have a lot to say, but sometimes people they really rely on like, their clothing or their jewelry or their nails or hair, whatever." I was like, "But it's just a distraction from like what the real problem is. Like, take better care of yourself, buddy." You know what I mean? You ever see people like there's these girls that I know. I have an aunt like this. I have an aunt. She's always like, "Look at my nails, look at my nails." Bitch, do whatever the fuck you wanna do to distract from the fact that you are a gluttonous whore. You know what I mean? Like, come on. She's like, "Look at this, look at that. Look, I got this new shirt from QVC." What you need to do is get some Ozempic, bitch. Like this, like you're unhealthy. You're unhealthy. There's nothing attractive about qualifying for my 600-pound life. That's so scary. Get your life together. So this guy is telling me, "Oh my gosh, you dress like XYZ." Okay, and, who cares? Like, so you have an expensive shirt on. I'm not I'm not swooning.
Right. Right. Man, that is no, I agree though. But the fact that like a grown ass man is still pulling that, if you dress like whatever, it's like, what are you, like 12? Like that's like the shit like people do in a playground in high school. Like, your shoes are poor, you know,
Yeah.
like it's like what? Stop making fun of my McDonald's bags. That's all I can afford, you know, and then I run away crying.
He's like, my necklace is 14 karat gold. It's this like big, like tacky necklace. I'm like, okay, and it goes well with your under booby sweat. Congratulations. Do you want a
Oh,
medal? So
yeah,
think
got
to myself, like, if you're gonna try to like be snarky with a gay, like, you should know better. Come on.
yeah. You gotta be ready. You gotta come with good jokes,
I
especially
don't
if you're gonna talk
tolerate that.
clothes and shit. So
Hmm.
with you, I'm with you. But
What's new with you?
well, I am living the dream. I'm performing a lot, acting a lot, interviewing people on the streets, which is kind of cool. So all
I
around,
saw.
all around, a man of the people now, which is great. So things are good. Things are good. However, it's time to hear from you guys because it is emails from the listeners. And we got some good ones. And I'm going to go with CMO this time because his is shorter again.
Always.
Yeah, buddy.
If I had $1 every time someone said that CMOS is shorter, let me tell you that, I'd have a lot of money. Okay, so
Oh, yeah, CMO.
I forget what was the sign. Let me see. Oh, now I remember. Okay, so this guy, Johnny from, it's funny when I saw Vienna, I was like, oh wow, Vienna,
Yeah,
Austria.
I'm not gonna lie, I had the same thought. Now I feel like an asshole, so I'm glad you said that.
But then I saw Virginia, and I was like, oh.
It's like, wow,
I
our
always
listeners are writing from far away. It's like,
I
oh no,
always used to think that Vienna was like Maryland or DC because it's right by isn't Vienna where they have like Tyson's Corner, like the mall?
uh, no, I don't think so. I mean, Tyson's Corner is kind of its own area. I think it's close to Arlington, but I don't remember.
Um
It's been a while since I've
anyway,
been.
so this guy Johnny, hey Johnny wrote, "Dear Frat Chat, the current state of the world has me and my friends very nervous." Relatable, buddy. My friends and I have a group trip plan, but half of them are afraid to travel because of ICE presence at the airports.
Mm.
Also relatable. Although everyone has residency here, some of my friends are here on various visas and don't want to get caught up in a detention center. They've encouraged the rest of us to travel without them, but I feel so guilty. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Cancel the trip and incur the cancellation fees, or go anyway with their blessings? Thanks, Johnny from Vienna. That's a tough one, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
but
it depends on the cancellation fees. Like if you
yeah,
can't get your money
exactly.
back, you should go. But I but
Absolutely.
I but I think if it was me, if it was a big group, if everyone's local, if you're able to get full refunds on everything or at least a credit, I would just do something local so that you can drive to. Go drive to like an Airbnb upstate and like I guess if you're in Virginia, okay, yeah, drive to like Virginia Beach or drive to Ocean City, Maryland, and go have fun. But you don't have to fly to go have fun. Avoid the airport, you know?
However, I will say, if your friend has said, "Go ahead," and you because cancellation fees are a bitch, and they take a big
Yeah,
chunk of your value of what you're getting back. Your friend saying, "Go ahead," as the foreigner who would actually say, "I don't want to travel right now," and I literally told Julie, like, "I'm not boarding a flight right now. If you fucking even if I had my real ID, would I do it? You know what I mean? Like, no fucking way. ICE is definitely gonna pull me aside. They're gonna be in the oh, we gotta verify you, whatever. And while they quote unquote verify me by kicking my ass on some fucking cell, my plane is taking off to Disney World or wherever the fuck I'm going, you know? So
yeah,
I know how these things go. My name is Carlos Garcia. I am very self-aware of how often I get pulled over at airports without the current situation. So no, not for me. Not happening. But if I tell someone just fly, like I mean it. Like it's like I'm not like a FOMO liar. So it just depends on your friends. If they are, then you gotta, it's on you. But if someone gave you the all ahead, I would say go on the trip and then, plan to do something local after, like Simo said. But if everything's booked at this point and you're ready to go, I don't, and go on your trip.
yeah.
Like, I'm
I agree.
sorry.
I agree. I think that like this day and age, with how crazy things have been at airports, I think it's safe to assume that maybe it's best to pay a little bit extra for every flight to ensure you get a full refund. Because they're like,
Yeah,
you can pay X amount or maybe a little bit more to secure that you get a full Yeah, I'm gonna pay that extra because it's so
right,
unpredictable right now.
totally. And I will say, apparently, there was a deal. This is as of this recording, Saturday, March 28th, that was
No
signed.
King's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
They're marching right now.
But there's apparently a deal which is going to get airport funding back going. So as of this coming week, I think things should start going back to normal. So
Well, I'm prepared to go to the airport on Tuesday 4 hours early,
yeah, that's what I was telling
which
Julie. You got to do like
sucks.
4 hours, and in some places, like Dallas, you got to do even more. Because it's been like that's been where like things have been the worst. Dallas International is a huge crossaway airport for so many destinations. It's massive too. You got to fucking like usually like you get dropped off at terminal A, building B, and then you got to fucking take like a train to building W and terminal 37, and it's like what the fuck? Where am I going?
Yeah.
So imagine that madhouse under this current situation. It's been absolutely awful. In some cases, it's been like 6 to 8 hour delays. So we are lucky even with 4 hour delays here. But yeah, you got to go early. Make sure your butthole is nice and loose so you can hopefully get through in a very quick amount of time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would say before you cancel your trip, keep an eye on the news. This is literally as of this week. Depends on when your trip is, but it seems like you got a little time. So I would
Hear
say
that, Johnny? Don't cancel yet.
don't cancel, hold off, wait to see what this deal is. I believe it included TSA funding, just not ICE funding. So the things are good here in this bill. We shall see, but I believe that's what I read. It was like
You
two in
know,
the morning last night, though. So
I've heard that if you have status pending, then you were encouraged not to travel. You're discouraged from traveling.
yeah,
And it's so sad because Homeland Security is so behind with granting all these visas and green cards and whatnot. And so I don't think people realize how many people have pending cases. So I
totally.
know personally that when you sponsor someone for a green card, uh we had a pretty easy cut and dry like case, and it took a year and a half, and then we reapplied for the next green card 2 years later, and we were given a notice that said that everything's behind. They'll have a notice for us within 2 years, and it was supposed to have been decided in 6 months. So
Yeah.
so 2.5 years versus a half a year. It's really ridiculous. So there's so many people who are scared to travel, rightfully so, because we're told if you have pending, you know, cases, don't travel. So what the government does is they'll give you a piece of paper. Like take this paper that says that your decision is being delayed, but this will work at the airport. I don't think that these ICE agents give a flying fuck about a piece
No,
of
no.
paper that is unfamiliar to them.
Absolutely. They're not even trying to read a piece of paper. They're not even trained to anymore. Like they go through like a 15-minute fucking course in the back of a Walmart McDonald's combo. And while they're eating their fucking happy meals, they kind of watch the video while they're there. It's like awful training. So no, they're not doing anything of the sort. So yeah, if you're undocumented or your status is not quite cool or whatever, just stay the fuck away from the airports for sure.
Yep.
For sure. And how if you're like someone like me who, became a citizen later on, bring every piece of documentation you can to prove you're a citizen because they shiesty right now. But anyhow, on to
Anyway,
the
what's
next
what's
one.
your letter from the listener?
I got Jason from New York City with a I think this is an oddly relatable scenario for a lot of guys, but I feel like girls have this issue too. But this one gave me a nice chuckle. I feel horrible for him, but he goes, "Hey, frat chat, I need some honest advice because I might have just taken the dumbest L of my life. So I went on a first date last week. Everything was doing great. Good conversation, lots of laughs, definite chemistry. The kind of date where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm crushing this. But here's where I messed up. It was laundry day. Now, since it was a first date, I don't think there was any chance we'd end up back at my place. So I made a very risky decision. I wore those underwear. You know the
Uh-oh.
ones.
It's not good.
You know the ones. The pair that should have been retired during the Roosevelt administration. I'm talking holes, thinning fabric, possibly passed down from generation to generation, like some kind of cursed family heirloom. Anyways, fast forward to the end of the date, and she hits me with a, "Do you want to come back to your place?" Panic, absolute panic, because there
Mm-mm.
was no way I could let this woman see what I was working with below the belt. I'd rather lose her forever than have her think I'm out of here living like that. So, what do? I bail. I tell her I'm not feeling well, and I cut the night short. Now, here's the problem. It definitely sounded like I was about to have a digestive emergency. Like I just ditch her to go destroy a bathroom somewhere. And since then, silence. No text back,
Horrible.
nothing. So now I'm sitting here wondering, did I just ruin a great connection because of my ancient underwear? Do I text her again and try to explain? And if so, how do you explain that? Or do I just take this as a life lesson and hold the L? Please help. And yes, I've already thrown those underwear away. Jason from New York City. Dude, we all have that underwear. I just wore that underwear and then I forgot that I was wearing it. I went to the gym and then, I went to change into my gym shorts and then I'll see, oh shit. Do the quick sit down. Who let this hobo in the gym?
I think that I think that we all have underwear like that.
Every tattoo, especially
And there's definitely like underwear I would rather be seen in than others, for sure.
yeah,
But sometimes I think to myself, like, I should just like grow up and like just invest in better drawers, like across the board. Same with socks.
yeah,
And I think that sometimes I think to myself, maybe I do care too much what people think because when I'm at home, I just want to be comfortable. But when I'm out and about, I, of course, want to put up this facade that like I've got it together. So
totally.
to me, it's like you have those like friends that are really bougie and they all have like super nice cologne and nice clothes and whatnot. But then you go to their house and like everything's like Walgreens brand, like hand soap and like single ply toilet paper, and they like everything's like generic. You're like,
So
what? These are frosted flakes. Well, where's the tiger on the box? You know what I mean? So I wish I was more consistent is what I'm saying. Like, if I'm gonna be, like, comfortable at home, that I should just be proud of my old drawers out in public. Like, guys, I got a hole in my undies right now, and I don't give a fuck." I wish I was that person, but I'm just
yeah,
not. I'm not there yet. So
no,
maybe I'm a
totally.
hypocrite when I complain about other people.
And I do want to give our buddy here credit because Jason here some credit because the reason he thought it was okay to wear the underwear was actually very honorable. He said it's a first date. I don't assume I'm gonna end up back in my place. So that means he's like a very like traditional kind of cat. He was actually like going out there because he liked this girl. He wasn't just trying to bang this girl, which is honestly kind of refreshing to see in today's world.
Mhm.
You're making us look good in that sense there, Jason. But here's the thing. Dates are like the apocalypse. You're always better off if you're prepared. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you gotta be ready. It's like you never know. At the end of the day, it's not really as up to you as it is up to her, anyways. If she says let's rock, you gotta be ready to rock, buddy. Like obviously, if you're like you have like religious or moral issues, you can always tell her, oh, I don't bang on the first date, and she'll probably respect you better. But you have to always be ready to go. You have to be ready to go. So I do think that's a rookie mistake in that sense. And you should always, always assume that there's a possibility that you can get some hanky panky after a date. It's just the way you never know.
Do you think his girlfriend or that like the girl, do you think she was like, I like barely ever do this. Nom 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 nom.
We never do this. They do that shit all the time. I've been on a couple of those dates. So you learn. You
I
ready?
never spread my butt cheeks for a stranger, but I feel a real connection.
Oh no, it's just been that loose as birth. Don't worry. It's not.
Yeah, it happens.
It's just
Relatable.
so that's right. So Jason, I would say at this point, if you've actually tried texting her a couple times and she hasn't texted you back at this point, you gotta take the L. It just depends how many times you text her. You don't want to be that person doing like 95 fucking text messages unresponded because then it gets kind of weird and sad and creepy. So that would be my advice. Just move on, learn from it. There will be others. Don't wear the dirty, raggedy underwear on dates anymore. I know you say threw it away, but I'm sure there's others that are on their way to becoming that underwear. So be very conscious of what you're doing, and go from there. Now, if you haven't texted her really that much, which again more than 3 times, that's too much already. Then you could say something like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'd love to hang out again," or something. But even then, I don't know. I think at this point you got to move on. But that's just me. What do you think, Simo?
I don't know. I agree. I agree. I think it's funny because I think to myself like in the gay community we have so many things like to worry about, and I'm like it'd be so much easier to be straight. And then I hear these stories and I'm like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough. But
It's
here's the
all
thing.
it's universal.
Totally, totally. And here's the thing. I think that we as humans, like when someone is about to like ditch us or not talk to us or whatever, we almost get like abandonment issues and it becomes
Mhm.
like you catastrophize it so much like, oh, what am I gonna do if this person doesn't talk to me? It's like, bitch, you didn't know her fucking 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
You were fine. You will be fine.
I agree.
Now, if this was your wife for 25 years, hell yeah, that's a little bit different. But like someone you just fucking met, who gives a shit? You'll go back to your life. Yeah, it stings. Don't get me wrong, but like you will be fine. Like that's totally fine. Like it is what it is. It's the dating pool. You know what I mean? Half of it is filled with pee. You just got to keep swimming. 'Cause otherwise, you're gonna
Yeah.
drown. You don't want to drown in the pee. That's even worse. So keep your head up, buddy. Keep your
I
head
think
out of
I think what happens is that like um because of dating apps, it's so back in the day before apps, I remember this. You might not, but I remember what life was like before smartphones. And
back
you
in
would meet
1936.
yeah,
Margaret, put me
and,
through with number
and
2, please.
yeah, I would walk 15 miles to school in the snow. So I I remember going to the bar, you meet someone, hey, like, do you ever want to like get a coffee or a beer sometime? Yeah, sure, whatever. And then you text a little bit and talk on the phone, you go out. Um, and then that's that. But with apps, like all the first date questions that I used to ask, like are established on someone's profile or like within like the first like few days of correspondence on the app. And so like so date number one feels more like date number three because there's already emotional connection. There's already
That's
like a lot of
true.
common interests and things. So I feel like, when I was younger, I was like, I'm not touching nothing until date number three. I don't even kiss on the first date, but nowadays it's different.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I actually totally agree. You do talk a lot more, hopefully, before you get to the point where you meet that person. So yeah, no, that's when I would go on these dates, usually I would have talked to them plenty. So kind of really felt like I knew them well by the time we went out. So it was more of a connection. Um, I never thought about it that way. So yeah,
Yeah,
you should
man.
even more of a reason, Jason, to always be ready on the first date. So we can leave it on that. That is emails from the listeners. Throw those nasty undies away. folks. But anywho,
Yeah.
it is now time for the news.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Ciao, Francesca.
Ew. Oh, I don't have
Yeah.
my shades next to me. It's okay.
You gotta be ready, Mr. Mo. You always
I
gotta
know.
be ready. But that's why you gotta watch us on YouTube, people, so you can see what a total dumbass I look like during this intro. But we have some crazy news that have been making their way through the country, and a truly bizarre and shocking story that almost sounds fake, but is totally real. Because a 27-year-old man named Dayton Weber, yeah, he has no arms and no legs, has been arrested and charged with murder in Maryland. Shout out to Maryland. And Weber is actually a well-known figure because he's a professional cornhole player who gained national attention for competing at a high level despite being a quadruple amputee. Condition he's had since infancy due to a severe bacterial infection. According to police, the incident happened during a late-night car ride with friends. Investigators say Weber got into an argument with another man, 27-year-old Bradrick Wells, while they were inside a Tesla SUV. Figures. That argument allegedly escalated to the point where Weber pulled out a handgun and shot Wells multiple times, killing him while he was still in the passenger seat. Now, this is where the story gets even crazier. There were two other people in the car, and after the shooting, police say Weber asked them to help him remove and dump the body. Instead, they refused, got out of the vehicle, and later contacted authorities. Now, authorities say Weber then drove off with the victim still inside the car and eventually dumped the body in a yard in Charlotte Hall, Maryland, where it was later discovered. He didn't get far, however, because police tracked him down to a hospital in Virginia where he had gone for medical treatment and he was arrested there. He is now facing first and second degree murder charges and is awaiting extradition back to Maryland. Now, the biggest question people had here is obvious. How could someone with no arms and no legs commit a shooting like this? But investigators say that Weber had previously demonstrated on social media and in real life that he could handle and fire a gun using his upper limbs, aka his little arm stubs. And that detail has stunned a lot of people and is a major part of the case. I've seen the videos. I can testify for a fact that that man can shoot a gun. It's like he kind of takes the handgun, puts it between his legs, uses little stumps to cock it, and then boo, he fucking lets that thing rip. So even police had to improvise during booking, however, because he has no hands. So they reportedly had to take prints from his arm stumps instead of traditional fingerprints.
I can't.
Yeah, man.
I can't. No, is that real?
Can you imagine what the paper looks? Because it's like the little check mark to put your fingerprints are kind of small, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull.
So, do you think that they were what was his name, Dayton? They're like, all right, Dayton, we're gonna now I gotta process you and get you fingerprinted, and he's probably like,
Excuse me.
you sure?
It looks like a baby elephant
Sure about
stump.
that?
After.
Oh my gosh. This is like what a day for law enforcement. I'd be like, guys, you can't write this stuff. You can't make this up.
I know. How do you do that? So obviously, the story's blowing up online because it flips expectations. Weber was previously seen as an inspirational figure, even appearing in media and sports circles for overcoming extreme physical challenges. And now he's at the center of a violent murder case that's raising questions about motive, capability, and what really happened inside that car. Kind of like the Oscar Pistorius case in Africa, where he killed his girlfriend, and he's a double amputee. People, they completely changed the perception of him. And as wild as the headline sounds, this case is very real and still developing. Still developing. Sorry. His next court date is expected soon, and if convicted, he could be facing life in prison. So stay tuned, folks. We'll keep you updated on this case as it unfolds, and we'll see what happens. That's the news.
Didn't we cover a situation where there was, I think, some man that didn't have arms was giving like a tourist um directions and then stabbed him with scissors somehow?
Yes, we did. That is a good memory. We did.
Man, like the world's crazy, dude. The
I
fuck?
know. Just goes to show amputees can do it all too. So keep chasing your dreams, people. It doesn't matter your circumstance. You can do what you want. Take that as the message out of this.
Like I don't want to make it seem like people aren't capable, but I do want to be like realistic, and it's just hard for me to wrap my head around this one.
I'm just saying, cases like this and the stump scissor guy prove that it's not handicapped, it's handy capable. So
Correct.
write that down. Tell a friend.
Correct. Well,
Anyways,
what can
that's the
do?
news. And now it is time for not the
Drag queens!
because we got another great story for you. Shout out to our good peeps at Right Wing Watch and ABC News for the story info. And in Brandon, Mississippi, a 60-year-old man named Mark Duet has been convicted on multiple counts of child sexual abuse, once again underscoring a pattern that directly contradicts a loud ongoing narrative in American culture. So, then we got to hit it again. Yeah, the case began on March 14, 2025, when police responded to a 911 call involving a child who had reported abuse. The victim was taken to the Children's Advocacy Center. The professionals trained in handling these cases conducted a forensic interview. What they uncovered is deeply disturbing. The abuse has allegedly taken place over a 3-month period, with multiple incidents occurring when the child was alone with Duet. During the trial, prosecutors laid out evidence that painted a picture of repeated, calculated abuse. Jurors heard testimony not just from law enforcement, but also from a sexual assault nurse and a forensic interviewer, key figures in building cases involving child victims. These aren't quick accusations or misunderstandings. These are structured investigations with trained professionals ensuring accuracy and care. Now, after reviewing the evidence, the jury found Duet guilty on all counts. 3 counts of sexual battery and 2 counts of what Mississippi law refers to as gratification of lust, all involving the same child. According to Rankin County District Attorney Bubba Bramlett, which tracks for Mississippi, this wasn't an isolated lapse in judgment. It was sustained intentional behavior. His words were direct. This was calculated, repeated abuse of a child. Sentencing is scheduled for May 11th of this year, where Duet could face significant prison time, and he should. And this is where the segment's name come to play, people, because with certain groups, particularly, the good people in the drag performing and LGBTQ plus communities, they're often targeted in political rhetoric and social media ads. They're supposed to be about the dangers to kids, case after case, to this tells a different story. So, the overwhelming majority of documented child abuse cases involve individuals known to the victims, family members, family friends, or trusted adults, not strangers in fucking costumes reading books at libraries. So it's not about deflecting blame, it's about focusing on reality.
Yeah.
So if the goal is actually to protect children, then attention needs to be paid to where the real risk statistically repeatedly exists. So for the love of God, people, heed our words already. The call is coming from inside the house. The call is coming from inside the house.
Agreed. And I also want to say, I think it's funny that there's a town called Brandon. It's like they ran out of like city names and they're like,
Yeah.
you know, I went to college with
Fuck
a
it.
Brandon who was
Man.
pretty cool. We can just call it's a cool town. Let's just call it Brandon. Is there a town called Billy? How about Bob? Where do you live? In Bob.
It's right next to Steve, Mississippi. It's a fantastic place to live. It's very good. Yeah, Brandon, Mississippi. That is definitely someone's like dumb nepo baby.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god damn it,
Mississippi.
he's shit in the baby pool again. Fuck Brandon. What?
This is so sad. It's so sad to me, and I just feel like we hear so many of these cases, and most of the perpetrators are like on the MAGA right, and they're not going to showcase these on news stations that support the MAGA right. And so, like, I think that a lot of the public isn't aware that the vast majority, statistically, of these cases are, like you said, done from the calls coming from inside the house, and the stats are so clear, but why people still continue to support the the MAGA right boggles my mind. Like they are protecting pedophiles. Like what? Like
Mhm.
this like boggles my mind. What has this world come to?
Mhm.
It's crazy.
I mean, we're doing literally in a war right now, just to cover up for these
But is it a
pedophiles.
war or is it a military operation? What
Yeah,
what are we
right.
calling it today?
I mean, as time keeps passing, they supposedly got to go to Congress at some point and get approval after 180 days, I think it was. So I mean, it's clock is ticking. We'll see what happens then, if they even do anything, because we all know Congress is currently the president's bitch and wants to
Hmm.
be a dead arm of government and just let him do what he wants. So we shall see if they get their
Mike
dick.
Johnson was like, we're gonna present Donald Trump the Gold Award to celebrate this golden era. And I was like, what is with all these participation trophies? Like, stop
Literally,
giving him shiny
literally.
things. Like, that's fucking weird.
He used to be like, this award did exist before, but I just love the way his dick tastes. This is the Donald Trump His Penis Tastes Great Award.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally doesn't look like a mushroom. Brought to you by the Republican
Yeah.
Party. Here you go, my president. And it's like a massive wiener.
Here's a golden plaque of a three-dimensional giant hand that is made to scale to resemble Donald Trump's giant hands. And when I say giant, I mean these are the biggest hands that we've ever seen in our lifetime. Congratulations,
Mr.
Donald Trump, for
President,
having big palms.
Mr. President, please don't clap. You'll blow up our eardrums with those
Yeah.
massive hands, please.
Be careful with those things. They're weapons
That's
of
right.
mass destruction. Your
McDonald,
hands will single-handedly take down the entire Iranian government,
that's
sir.
right.
If you
Sir,
wanted
the
to, you
Big Mac,
could.
the Big Mac has not gotten smaller. Your hands are even bigger now. Holy shit. Oh,
I
believe me.
think his hands have gotten bigger, but I think it's a circulation issue. Like, because he's like swollen, like his cankles are off the chain. Like, I do think his hands might be a little bit bigger, but I don't think it's like a normal bigger. I think it's like,
Like
um,
thicker. Yeah,
yeah.
swollen.
I
Oof.
mean, he doesn't strike me as a healthy person. Like his days are numbered, unfortunately, and like I hope everyone has a plan. I really hope that we're not stuck with JD Vance when this guy kicks the bucket, you know?
Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
What a
It makes
bitch.
me,
JD
makes me
Vance is
want him
such
to
a
take care
bitch.
of himself, though, at least for these 4 years, because I do not want JD Vance. So maybe skip a Big Mac this week, sir. And that's coming from someone who has actually been really craving McDonald's recently. I haven't had it in a while.
No, I thought you did every Sunday.
I used to, and it got expensive, and obviously I gained like 40 pounds later on. And it's funny because it wasn't while I was doing the Big Mac challenge; it was when I had to stop during COVID because I wasn't going that often anymore, and I put on the weight. So maybe I should just go back every Sunday and have a Big Mac. But I also want to try that Big Arch burger. It's supposed to be pretty good. They have
The
like
CEO was like, "Oh, it's so good.
yeah, right.
Yum."
That loser. Like, why would you? Like, he clearly doesn't even eat burgers, but it's supposed to be 2 quarter pounder patties. So that's fucking huge on its own. And
Yeah.
they have like a new sauce and some cheese and like these crispy onion straws and shit. And it looks pretty good. But like, I love a Big Mac. So like, I'm afraid to go and deviate from my Big Mac and then have something else. And then I'm not 100% satisfied. You know what I mean? Because then I'm going to be pissed. Like, I know that McDonald's definitely takes years away from my lives every time I have it. So when I go, I want to make sure to get exactly what I want that will leave me feeling less like shit afterwards. So,
Well,
uh,
despite what people may think, I actually don't like to have a lot in my mouth at one time. So whenever I go to McDonald's, I tend to get 3 classic hamburgers. I get
yeah,
3 and eat them in like 2 bites each. I devour
wow.
them. But that's always been my favorite. Just a classic hamburger.
Their burgers are good, dude. Like the little cheeseburgers are delicious too. Like I love that combo, the 2 cheeseburger combo. I don't know what they put on their fucking burgers, but it just brings me back to my childhood when I had the little ones, and they're just good, man. So, uh, shout out to McDonald's.
Do you
I
remember
know
going
you're
to Pizza Hut and the personal pan pizza looked so big, and now you go to Pizza Hut and you're like, that's it?
well, shit. But going back in the day, going to Pizza Hut and getting that personal pan, you would go sit at a table, hit the salad bar before, you know what I mean? You're sitting there with your family. They bring you the scalding hot pizza, like, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Now, like, I don't even think they have Pizza Huts where you can dine in anymore. It's all, like you get it in the box, just
I
like
remember
everything
they had
else.
those red cups that looked like cracked.
Yes, always, always. They just look like they just smashed them against the wall to crack them. There was never like a good non-crack looking cup. That
I
that was
remember
just the design.
Totally. I remember back in the day, they'd be like, smoking or non-smoking section, and my parents would be like, "Whatever's available," and I'm like, "Ah, no, I hate the smoking section." But to be honest, whether
It
you're in
didn't
the smoking or
matter.
non-smoking, it's the
No
entire
window.
restaurant smell like smoke.
Yeah, like there were no windows at these places, so literally the smokers are just blowing it. They just going past through to the non-smoking. It didn't make much of a difference. But I'm old enough to remember when you could still smoke during airplanes before they welded the ashtrays shut. Remember that?
Yeah,
Like
I
that
do.
was insane. I was a kid sitting in airplanes, people smoking fucking wildly next to me, and no one gave a shit. So me inhaling that, like that
Oh,
secondhand smoke.
I did want to tell you, I read this article about this guy in Maryland who this is a big tangent, but when you said plane, it made me think ice. So this guy in Maryland, he got these guys to work on his roof, and these guys, I guess,
Oh
were
yeah.
undocumented. And then he owed them $10,000. In an effort to not pay, he on their final day of work after they completed the job, he called ICE and had them arrested so that he could avoid paying them for their work. I think that is such an abuse of power, and I think it lacks so much integrity. And I think that this person, I'm not sure if they can bring him up on charges, but I think that he needs to be canceled. We need to make his
Oh
life
yeah.
miserable. What a
I
shit
mean,
person.
whoever's the company owner can definitely sue him, even if his workers got arrested for not completing, for not paying him. They complete the work. So I hope that there's still an owner in there that hasn't been arrested that can fucking just shit on this guy. And yes, I think I don't always agree with publicly doxing people, but in cases like this, fuck yeah. I want to know who this asshole is. Post it everywhere. Someone find out, tell the world, because you got to be a real piece of shit. But that's become a thing in the last few months. This is not an isolated case where people, particularly the ones associated with MAGA, obviously, are doing this and getting work done and then calling ICE on the workers to not have to pay them. So I hope you know if you're doing shit like that, you're just a piece of shit. But anyways, we do got to move on because we do have a very scary episode this week as well.
Ooh.
Oh, Lord. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Let's talk about something pretty much everyone in this room has used at some point, and we even talked about it earlier. Dating apps. You know, place where you can meet your soulmate. Someone who still has their ex in their profile picture. Someone who says they're 6 feet tall and shows up looking like they're 5'7" in Air Forces. But tonight, we're not talking about bad bios or awkward first dates. We're talking about the other side of dating apps. The side people don't usually think about. Because for every funny, this date was a disaster story, there are real cases where things went way further than just awkward. We're talking about people who weren't who they said they were, people who use apps like Tinder and Facebook to lie, manipulate, and in some cases, seriously hurt the people they met. And the crazy part, a lot of these stories start the exact same way yours probably did. A match, a few messages, maybe even a good first date. No dirty underwear. Nothing that felt off until it was way too late. So, in this segment this week, we're diving into real life dating app horror stories. Cases where a simple swipe turned into something straight out of a nightmare. So lock your doors. Maybe double check your matches. Let's get into it, people. Oh, yeah.
I want to start because my first one actually we've talked about on the so it's a repeat.
Okay.
When we talked
Bring
about serial killers.
Bring it.
So my first one, remember that guy Stephen Port from the
Oh, yes,
UK?
I do. Yeah.
So we've already talked about this one before, but I do it qualifies for this topic too. So this was the
Absolutely.
grinder killer. He's a serial killer. And so between you know what, Grinder came about I think in like 2009. But it started in the United States and now it's like it's got like global attention. And in some countries where homosexuality is criminalized, a lot of law enforcement have fake Grinder accounts and they prosecute people through Grinder. So they'll like catfish people into meeting them somewhere and then they arrest them. In some countries they
Yeah.
stone them to death. So like
Wow.
it's really sad. You know, if you like, let's say you had an opportunity to go to Egypt, like, oh wow, like the beaches in Egypt are beautiful. I'm gonna go to Cairo, like it's one of the wonders of the world, of course. And then you still have your Grinder account open, not realizing the dangers. Like as a tourist, you can get in a lot of trouble. You know, so like you have to be really,
Mm.
really clear as to what the laws are to protect yourself. So anyway, this guy's name was Stephen Port. Between 2014 2015, he lured multiple men through various dating apps, but mostly Grinder. And the victims include, or not limited to, there's Anthony Walgate, Gabriel Kovari, Daniel Whitworth, Jack Taylor, and potentially a lot more. So he would invite them to his apartment in East London, where he would drug them with GHB. He would rape them and then kill them with an overdose. And then he would leave their bodies in nearby areas to make it look like it was an accidental overdose. And he got away with it for so long because a lot of cops were like, gays will be gays.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, gays and their party drugs. There's another one, bites the dust. And I think that they were just like, they looked at gays as if they were less than a human.
Totally. Totally.
So he got caught, but it's just really sad that it took so long. So there was a lot of criticism to the way that police handled the earlier deaths.
Totally. And note, you can look up our full report on Stephen Port, since we've covered him before, in detail on our gay serial killers episode. I believe it was. I think it was last season. So check that
Correct.
baby out. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. So no need to go into crazy detail on Stephen Port. But for my first one, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about. That's right. Make sure to swallow, Simo. What is Simo sucking on? Find out on YouTube. Frat Chat Podcast.
It's is this.
Hop water?
Yeah, it's for alcoholics, I think, but I like
Is that
it.
weed?
It's like a social drink, and so, like, it has, like, adaptogens and, like, mushrooms or whatever that help relax you,
Oh, got it.
and so, like, if you, like, are sober and you kinda wanna take the edge off, you can drink one of these and just kinda, like it's like drinking CBD.
Or if you've been drinking the last 5 days in a row like CMO has, and you just want to keep your hands from jittering. How about hot water?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, but anyways, I'm going to talk about Ashley Hall, who was Facebook catfished. And Ashley Hall
Oh,
was
it's a sad
17
one.
years old. Yeah. She was in County Durham in the UK. And she began talking online with someone she believed was a teenage boy named Peter. A profile that looked legitimate, complete with photos and interactions. In reality, the account was run by Peter Chapman, 33, a registered sex offender who had created a completely fake identity. After building trust over time, he arranged to meet her on October 4th, 2009. Now, when Ashley realized he wasn't who he claimed to be, she reportedly resisted. But he abducted her. Within hours, he had sexually assaulted and murdered her. Her body was found later that same day in a remote field. After Ashley went missing, investigators immediately examined her online activity, including Facebook messages. They identified the profile that she had been communicating with, but quickly realized it was fake. However, that account led them to Peter Chapman, who had used similar fake identities before. Crucially, there was also CCTV footage of his car picking Ashley up, which tied him directly to her disappearance. Once police zeroed in on him, the evidence, including digital communication and his history, built a fast case. Chapman was arrested quickly after the murder, and in 2010 he was convicted of rape and murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 25 years. Now, one key detail here is that, again, Chapman had a history of sexual offenses and had previously used fake online identities to contact young girls. However, despite that, he was still able to create new profiles and continuing targeting victims. Facebook and Instagram and many of these social media sites are terrible about verifying people's identities, including when real people are hacked by others. So they really need to be better about this shit. This case made the list because it's also the nightmare version of catfishing. It's not just someone about it's not just someone lying about their looks or age, but someone using a completely fake identity as a weapon. And to make it worse, is that they do that while also being ugly, which is like ew, like ew. Like the killer looks like if Chris Evans was trying to play Chris Farley. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't look any creepier if he was Simo's uncle. It was like, yeah, come on, bro. That is the biggest offense here. What are you doing? What are you doing? So that's my first one.
That was on my list, but I think you posted it first. That's really
That's right.
sad.
Yeah, that's super sad. And I mean, it's just shitty too. And it's just shitty how these catfishers are allowed to like be. Like they're like I understand obviously you don't want to give out too much information to a social media company like your ID and stuff like that because it might fucking get leaked somewhere, but there does need to be like a fine line where you can actually verify who the fuck people are. So this stuff doesn't happen. Because obviously we wouldn't have this episode and we had to come up with something else to talk about. But I think it would be a little better off if we did have these things happen.
I think that you should be at least 18 to have a profile on any app.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
I think that if I had a child, and when I say child, I mean anyone under 18. If I was responsible for someone under 18, I'd be horrified to know that they were spending time on a dating app. It's just too scary. I have enough
Yeah.
like real life experiences to really like um to make logical decisions and not be naive. I just ooh. Anyway, so to segue from that, I also have a catfish story, but this is a catfish revenge story involving Grinder. So,
Oh.
um, so this is involving this guy named Matthew Herrick who he had like an ongoing lawsuit with Grinder, and then like it got dismissed, and then like it was like appealed, and I think that they're even dealing with like the Supreme Court. Maybe they have, or maybe they're about to. I forget. It was a big case. So basically, his ex-boyfriend was salty, and gays can be very vindictive. His ex-boyfriend created dozens of fake profiles impersonating him on Grindr. The fake profiles told people that Matthew Herrick had rape fantasies and wanted really aggressive sex. So literally hundreds of men showed up at his home and workplace expecting sex.
Oh my
So
God.
some people even refused to leave when he told them it was a scam because they thought it was part of like the role play. And I think that his ex also told these men that he had like fun party drugs too. And so it got really scary. So poor Matthew reported over 100 instances, and he's like, "Please kick my ex off of Grinder. Like, you have to help me." And so when he reached out to this law firm, the law firm reached out to Grinder, was like you have to put in some restrictions, like limit, like this is scary. And Grinder was like, "Listen, like we don't have the technology to do this." And
Wow.
and the law firm was like, "Well, you have technology for like geolocation, so people can like spot this guy and like find
Yeah.
him to like the foot." Because then Grindr would tell you they're 2 feet away, they're 20 feet, they're a
Totally.
mile away.
Totally.
So he's like, "That's really scary." So you have a very unsafe app that you cannot control. You have to have some like safety measures in place. So there's a lot of litigation back and forth. But yeah, so this case became like a major example of how location-based apps can be weaponized for harassment. And I hope they're able to figure this out. And I hope that Matthew Herrick wins a lot of money. I think he deserves it. That's scary.
Yeah, man. That's fucking crazy. And that's something I never really thought about with Grinder, but it is why I don't like put myself like on, Snapchat or like Instagram and shit. You can like put away your like satellite location so people know where you are at all times. It's like I don't fucking want that like at all. Like that is so unsafe. And like that can get hacked. Like if someone wants to come after you, like
Yep.
no. It's already too
Some of my
easy to find
friends are
people.
like, I can't deal with these headless torsos. I'm like, you know what? I can understand because you're afraid you're gonna get catfished, or sometimes it's like, well, what they're not showing could be like
Yeah.
alarming. So maybe they're a total butterface, you know what I mean? Or maybe they like have like no teeth, or like they I don't know. Who knows? But I also understand from a safety perspective, like not wanting to put your face out there. People are like, they're on the down low. I'm not dating anyone who's not comfortable being out and proud. They might be. It's just like it's a scary world we live in, you know?
Totally. Totally. Or they might have uh permanent farting resting face, where they always look like they're squeezing out a fart.
Yeah.
And that's just the problem.
I have some people
You
at
want to
work
put
that
your
look like
pictures
that.
out there. Yeah, you want to put your pictures out there if you're, that's
Exactly.
again, watch us on YouTube to find out what a permanent resting fart face looks like. It's good stuff. Frat Chat Podcast. Oh, I think I squeezed one out for real there. Whew, anyway.
Oh, fun.
Julie, it happened again. Bring out bring out the wet wipes.
Wait, give me a moment. Did you have steak yesterday?
That's right.
Oh, wow. It's a gift.
That's right. That's right. Here, I can show you. I also had a side of corn, but I can just show you guys that. It looks exactly the same.
Nice.
Anyway, up next for my next one. Up next for my next one, of course. That is terrible wording, but I am a professional, so we'll just keep it rocking. We're going to talk about Grace Mullane uh, and her Tinder experience, because Grace Mullane was 21 years old from Essex, England,
Ooh,
and
a
she was
lot of things
traveling.
from the UK.
I know the UK, a lot of murdery UK app users.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of
Watching.
inbreeding in the UK too. If
I mean,
if,
there
if we're
is
looking at the royal family as an example, I mean,
absolutely. They're all like third cousins at least. So that's very documented. Now,
yeah.
again, she was 21 years old from Essex, England, traveling solo through New Zealand during a gap year between college. She was documenting her trip and staying active on social media, regularly checking in with family. However, one day, the contact just stopped. However, on December 1st, 2018, she matched with a man on Tinder in Auckland. They met for drinks at a bar, and CCTV footage showed them laughing, hugging, and appearing completely comfortable. They went back to his apartment at the City Life Hotel, and Grace was never seen again. Grace's disappearance triggered immediate concern because she missed daily contact with her family, especially on her birthday. Now, police retraced her steps using that CCTV footage across Auckland, which showed her with the man she met on Tinder. Cameras followed them from the bar to the street to his apartment buildings, and then investigators then tracked his movements after her disappearance, including buying a suitcase, renting a car, and traveling to a remote area. Now, according to the man's later testimony, Grace died during consensual sex involving strangulation. However, prosecutors argued and the jury agreed that this was murder and not an accident.
Of
Now,
course.
what
Of
makes
course it was.
yeah, right? It's like she asked me to. But what makes this case especially disturbing is that after Grace died, the man went on the interwebs, of course, and searched online for rigor mortis and how long before a body smells. He also took intimate photos of her dead body. Then he went on a Tinder date the very next day. And then, as I said, he purchased a suitcase and cleaning supplies and then transported her body to a remote forest area and buried her. Now, in 2019, the man, who I keep calling the man because his name was actually suppressed in New Zealand, was convicted of murder. So we're not allowed to know what his name is for whatever reason. They like cover up people's identities.
That's
But
interesting.
he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 17 years before parole. So, it's not going to be bothering anyone anytime soon.
Yeah, but I
Now,
even
this
think that's
case,
too nice.
yeah, well, he's life in prison. So hopefully he doesn't get paroled.
There should be no chance of parole.
Yeah, right. After
Give him a
that,
fucking chair.
that shit was terrifying. Now, this case is terrifying because of how normal it looked at every step. Like, there's little footage of a happy, relaxed date hours before everything went terribly wrong. So, get to know someone before you go home with them because you're putting way too much faith off a stranger off the internet by going home with them on the first Tinder date. So, maybe don't throw away those dirty underwear there, Jason from NYC. Maybe those raggedy undies save your life. But get to know people, man, because you just never know. Like this dude killed a girl, took pictures of the dead body, and then went on another date the next day, like nothing fucking happened. Like
Yeah, like
that's terrible.
if he if it was an accident, then he would have done the right thing and he would call 911 and been like,
Yeah,
"Like,
immediately. Like
this just
immediately. This
happened. I'm
girl's
unsure.
dying. Like,
Can we
yeah,
resuscitate
exactly.
her?"
Like, I'm trying CPR. I'm trying something. You don't go on a date the next day. Like what?
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
one time in Chicago, I met this guy. I was drinking so much Red Bull and vodka. Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull all night. And my heart was and for most of my life, well, not most of my life, but some of my life I've taken like heart medicine. I had some like crazy arrhythmia and like um we were juggling different types of medications. My heart rate um was super low at one point, and we actually almost we negotiate not negotiate, but we contemplated getting a pacemaker when I was younger. And so like so drinking Red Bull, I think just made me feel normal and less lethargic. So I just kept drinking it. But then when you take a lot of caffeine, you crash.
Yeah, yeah.
With any drug, really, you hit your peak and then you crash. And so I'm at this guy's hotel room and I passed out. And then he called 911 and I woke up in the emergency room. I woke up in the
Wow,
hospital that was actually right next door to his hotel in downtown Chicago.
that's
And
convenient.
the nurse was like, "Your boyfriend didn't leave your side." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It's like, so I don't know his name and where's my shoes, you know? So, it it was, and actually, we check in once in blue moon because he would come to town sometimes, and I just thought to myself, "What a nice guy." Like, he didn't have to do that. But that's what you do.
Right.
If there's something that's, like, not kosher and you care about people, then you call 911. So he did the right thing.
Totally.
And I was so
Totally.
embarrassed, um, but, like, it's just very sad. That's a very sad situation with this poor girl,
Yeah.
and I hope this guy dies in jail.
Yeah. Fuck that bitch. Motherfucker.
Well, next
What
up
you
for
got?
me involves a victim named Kevin Bacon, but it's not the Kevin Bacon,
Not from Footloose.
not from Footloose.
Every
I
other
guess it's a
movie.
popular name, but this guy was like a
You won't
young,
be seeing this guy's dong.
no, no.
uh,
He's also not invisible. So,
uh,
he doesn't know anything about tremors.
I hate it. I hate it already.
Yeah. So, this guy, Kevin Bacon, I think was like a really cute guy that worked at a hair salon.
Oh.
And this was called the Christmas Eve cannibal murder case. This was in Michigan.
Oh
And
shit.
we also covered this in a news article years ago. So this is another repeat that qualified for this topic. So this infamous case involves this guy named Mark Latunsky. And so he met Kevin Bacon, again, the hairstylist, on a dating app, Grinder. And then Bacon went to Latunsky's home in Swartz Creek, Michigan. Now, a little bit about Latunsky, this Mark Latunsky. I think he is married to a woman. I think he had kids. Um, I think that they divorced, and I think that he ended up um, having a long term male partner of some sort. Not sure they're married or not. I can't remember the articles I read earlier, but I think that his wife had went on record to say, like, when he didn't take his medicine, he would watch a lot of really scary movies that would have a lot of, like, brutal scenes. Like, he was, like, obsessed with brutality,
Oh.
and he had a lot of, like, deep-rooted, long-term mental illness and, like, crazy depression with, like, bouts of, like, psychosis and hallucinations and, like, weird stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
um this guy, Latunsky, ended up murdering Kevin Bacon and then, like, mutilated him and, like, cannibalized parts of the body. I
Wow.
think that the case drew international attention because of its extreme brutality, especially on Christmas Eve. This was, like, on a holiday, you know? It's actually described as one of the most disturbing crimes linked to a dating app. So I think it's because this 50-year-old Latunsky, he, castrated Kevin Bacon, ate his wiener and some of his remains.
Oh shit.
He ate his dick. Bro, he ate
That's
his dick.
wild. Wild. Holy fuck. I wonder how he did it too. Like, did he
Don't
just
play
like
with your food.
did he just go at it raw? Or did he like make it into a little
I
hot
don't
dog,
know. Ooh,
pig in a
gross.
blanket? What do you do? Deep fry
I've
like a
never
dump?
looked I've never looked at a human being and wondered what parts of their bodies would taste like,
I know.
ever.
It would be so fucking like, especially someone's dick. Ew. Is it if it had queso on it, was it Mexican night? Like, you just don't know. I would not especially like human beings too are notoriously like the filthiest thing to eat. Like cannibals get sick. If you actually look up the history of people who eat, most cannibals, they end up getting really fucking sick. It's like, nah,
Ugh.
ugh. Yeah, that's gross.
You know what? You know how sometimes people use a meat tenderizer?
Yeah.
Like, that even makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, sometimes it's weird.
Like, even though it's just like a chicken breast, I'm like, I feel weird. If I have, like, a whole chicken and, you poke holes in it with a fork,
Yeah.
it makes my stomach curl. I feel like I'm murdering something. It makes me so sad. I
My
can't
dad used to have,
imagine chopping someone's dick off and eating it. Like, what the fuck?
yeah,
The
you know, my
fuck?
my dad used to have a phobia of watching, like, like ground beef, how it's processed like in a machine, and then it comes out like
Mhm. Mhm.
he would freak out when he saw that. He's like, it reminds me of like seeing a brain get chopped up or something, and he would hate it.
Mhm.
So I hear you. It is weird. It is weird. Like I don't mind like stabbing or tenderizing, but I wouldn't be good at butchering like a chicken when it's just still has the feathers and shit. You gotta take out all the shit. Like, oh no, I'm fine with just pulling out the giblets when they're frozen, the way that they're nicely packaged in the like a little bag. But yeah, no, fuck that.
You
I,
know
I
what?
don't
I
know.
feel like I'm so appreciative of the cheap rotisserie chickens at my local grocery store. I love rotisserie chicken, but I think to
Me too.
myself, there's so much effort to like
Yeah.
defeather and to prepare a chicken. It's so much effort, and
Well,
chickens are so small. Like, wow, that's a lot of effort. I should pay more for this product.
they have it down to a science though. And cooking a chicken's pretty easy. I'm pretty good at making like a nice rotisserie style chicken, like an oven baked one. But nowadays, like they have this shit down to a science when they butcher them. Like it takes them literally like a couple of minutes tops. Um, is that a pigeon? Do you hear that?
Oh, can you hear that?
That is crazy. What are they listening?
Okay,
Are
so
they?
I have an AC unit um right next to my my window right next to my bed, and the pigeons hang out on top of the AC unit and they fuck.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like a horny pigeon. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely a horny pigeon.
I'll hold the microphone closer so you can hear it again.
There we go.
I think they're fucking.
Yeah, these pigeons are getting down, dude.
And sometimes
Good
the
for you.
male pigeons will fight each other, and I make them know. I say, "Knock it off, play
Yeah,
nice."
gots to. You
Yeah.
gots to. Wow. Well, anyways, on to the
Anyways,
next. Sorry about your bacon, Kevin Bacon.
yeah.
Now those fucking pigeons, man. He's like really going at it. Oh woo! Oh woo! I want to know what that guy's doing. I'll have what she's having.
I'm gonna throw
Anyway.
something at the window. I think he stopped.
No, don't
Okay.
cock block the pigeons. That's fine. That's fine. Pigeons don't deserve it. We put them out in the streets as humans. They used to be house birds before the telephone existed.
Mhm.
So you can at least let them get their nut. And it seems like it's over. So that was a 2 pump chump pigeon.
Mhm.
It happens to the best of us, buddy. But anyways, on to the next one. We're going to talk about Philip Markoff and Craigslist. And Philip Markoff was a 22-year-old, the second who was sorry, I just had a brain aneurysm. Jesus. Philip Markoff was 22 years old, a second-year medical student at Boston University and engaged to his longtime girlfriend. By all outward appearances, he was successful, stable, and on track for a prestigious career. But in April 2009, he began arranging meetings with women through Craigslist erotic services section, functioning at the time as kind of the underground dating hookup platform. And it's also where CMO got a fresh, slightly used anal vibrator for $9.95, and all he had to
Yes,
do was watch it. So
and
it
it's
was great.
waterproof.
That's right. So, washed it with his toothbrush. It was excellent. Only $10. Now, on April 14th, 2009, Philip Markov met Julissa Brisman, 25 years old, at a hotel. During the encounter, he rubbed her at gunpoint, then shot and killed her when she resisted. Investigators later linked him to at least 2 other violent robberies of women he met the same way. Now, while committing these crimes, Markov was also living a double life. He was attending medical school like nothing was wrong. He was living with his fiancee and planning his wedding. However, Well, I'm sure he thought he was committing the perfect crime. This case was cracked through a mix of old school surveillance and modern tech. After the murder of Julissa Brisman, police pulled hotel surveillance footage, which showed a clear image of Markov entering and leaving. They then tracked his cell phone GPS data, which placed him at the crime scenes. And even more damning, his internet activity showed he had contacted multiple victims through Craigslist. Once investigators connected all the dots, they arrested him within days, and he was arrested on April 20th, 2009. Nice. However, while awaiting trial, Markov was found dead in his jail cell in 2010. He had died by suicide, using materials from inside the jail, proving once again that pieces of shit like this can dish it, but when accountability knocks on the door, they are total little bitches. So I'm sure he knew enough to know that he was going to get passed around like a blunt of 420 in prison. So I hope you're enjoying hell instead, jackass. Now, this case feeds into one of the deepest fears of online dating. What if that person you're meeting isn't just lying, but living an entirely separate, hidden life? Creepy. Creepy.
You know, um, before apps, like Craigslist was like the original app. You know, there's a
Mhm.
website, but it was like the original, like they had it was called Casual Encounters.
Counters. You can
hmm
find sex
M for
workers.
M, M for F, M F for M. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. Yep. Literally, people who were not quite out would go on there too to dip their toe into, what eventually I guess evolved into grinder type culture. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was super dangerous too, which is crazy in hindsight. I mean, obviously there's stories like this, but I'm surprised more deaths didn't happen. Or maybe they did and they just weren't connected to the apps. But this was a wild west period for the internet. You can just do what you want.
what happens to people like during their upbringing and their I don't know, when they're in the womb? Like, what happens to make people like do these things? Like, ugh.
Well, some
Like
people have brain injuries and shit. I have seen that leads a lot of serial killers and them having some type of brain injury as a kid where they get, fall off a bike or some shit and they get take a hit to the dome and then for some reason that increases the likelihood of serial killers. So, but I was dropped on the head by my parents several times and I just got stupid. So it's not proven.
like I what's that what's that movie was like Hello Clarice? What's that?
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, like, that guy was like a cannibal and like I
Tell
think like you watch these movies where people are like, I wonder what their insides look like. I'm like, really? Do you? Like, why? That's so gross. Ew. I wonder about other things. What's wrong with people?
Did you breastfeed her as a child, Senator? But tell me,
Ugh,
when they
yucky.
amputate take a man's leg and he can still feel it tickle. Tell me, Senator, when Buffalo Bill kills your daughter, where will it tickle you? Sick bastard. Yeah, dude, Hannibal
Ugh.
Lecter, he's the man, though. That line is obviously not the best thing to tell a woman whose child is missing, but man, when he said that shit to the senator, it's like goosebumps. Anthony Hopkins, so good. I love that man. But anywho, I believe we're on to you next, correct?
Yes. And
Reach out.
you had someone earlier that was named Dayton, right?
Yes, Dayton.
Because this guy's name was Drayton, I think.
Oh,
It's
so no
different.
relation.
Okay, I have to make sure. I was like, let me just double check. Okay, so this guy, I don't know how to pronounce his first name. It's like Daniel. Daniel.
Daniel. Daniel?
Daniel. I don't know.
Just go spell Daniel.
Daniel. Maybe it's
Januel. Just go Daniel. Say it really
Daniel.
fast. Daniel.
Daniel
There you go.
Drayton is a Connecticut man who gained national attention in July of 2018 for a series of violent crimes targeting women they met on dating apps. including, and this is like fairly local to me, including the murder of 29-year-old Samantha Stewart in Queens, New York. So I'm recording right now in Queens. I live in Astoria, Queens. Um,
Yeah.
so he ended up I think he stole her credit cards and booked a flight to California, and then they found him and they took him from California and sent him back to New York for trial. But he faced in 2022 an 18 count indictment for murder, sexual misconduct, and other charges. So this girl, Samantha Stewart, she was a nurse and a really nice person, and he met her. So this bad guy, Danielle, um, he met her on Tinder, and they went out on this date, July 16th, 2018. And then prosecutors say that they went back to her house, and he brutally beat and strangled her in her Queens home before he engaged in sexual activity with her dead body. He didn't want to fuck her alive. He wanted to fuck her dead. Whoa,
Ew.
right? So now after he murdered
Ew.
her, he used her credit card to purchase a plane ticket to go to California, like I said. And then within a week of the murder, he was arrested in North Hollywood, California, where authorities found him holding another woman captive whom he had
Wow.
allegedly strangled and sexually assaulted as well. So following his arrest, he actually claimed to be responsible for up to 7 murders nationwide, although at the
God.
time, investigators could only immediately link him to the Queens murder and a separate rape in Brooklyn. So there was some controversy because at the time of Samantha Stewart's murder, the girl that was killed in Queens, he was out on a $2,000 bail in Nassau County, New York, for a previous charge involving choking an ex-girlfriend. So a judge had released him without bail on that charge shortly before the murder due to a failure to review his extensive criminal history in Connecticut, which included a 2011 strangulation conviction. Now, I just want to
Goddamn
say,
Long Island. This is I know Nassau County. That's in Long Island.
correct.
Fucking Long Island judges.
No, I think so. Like, I have a friend who isn't a friend anymore, but he was a menace to society. He had multiple DUIs in various states, but the states wouldn't assess criminal activity in other states. So, like,
Yeah.
he got one in Florida, and then he came back to Maryland and got another one in Maryland, and then he got a third DUI, but they treated it like a second DUI. Like, if you are getting drunk and driving regularly, like, you need your license taken away, and maybe you should be in jail because you're putting everyone at risk. If you're driving on the
Especially
same
if you're
streets that my
gay,
mommy's
dude.
driving on, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
So, like, I do think that
We have Uber, Lyft, like fucking so many things that you can use to get home nowadays. Like, do you really need to drunk drive? Like, just fucking get a
Jimmy
car.
Cab, Taos
Yeah,
University.
Jimmy Cab, shout out. But it's like
So,
you
I
need
just
to.
feel like Yeah, I just feel like the courts need to do a better job investigating across state lines. Hello, because had they done the due diligence, this poor girl would be alive right now. And she's a nurse, and we needed her for COVID.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's shitty. It's shitty. I'm with you.
Super shitty. Anywho, what you got next, homie?
On to the
You got
next
2 left.
one. I have 2 left. You have 1. Yes, we have 3.
Mhm.
This one I'm going to talk about Ingrid Lynn, I think is, or Line. I think it's Line, actually. Lyne. Ingrid Line. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to commit. And Tinder. Now, Ingrid was 40 years old, also a nurse, and a mother of 3 daughters living in Seattle. She had reportedly recently gone through a divorce and, like many people re entering the dating world, decided to try Tinder. On April 8th, 2016, she went on a date with John Robert Charleston, 37. He presented himself as a normal guy, and there were no immediate signs of danger. Now, when Ingrid didn't return home, her family reported her missing almost immediately because it was out of character for her to disappear without contacting her children. Within days, something horrifying began to unfold. Workers at a Seattle recycling facility discovered human remains inside bags. And over the next several days, more
Uh-oh.
remains were found in different locations. The remains were identified as Ingrid Lynn. Ingrid's friends and family told police that she had gone on a Tinder date, so detectives immediately traced her recent matches and messages. This led them to John Charlton, the last person known to have seen her alive. Now, police quickly connected Charlton to Ingrid through Tinder, plus digital evidence and timeline alignment that quickly made Charlton the prime subject. However, when they went to arrest him on April 14th, 2016, they found him dead in a motel room where he had died by suicide. Now, a critical detail is that Charlton had a prior criminal record, including violent offenses, which raised serious concerns about how someone with that background was still able to move freely and meet people on dating apps without any warning system. And because Charlton died before trial, there was no courtroom resolution. The case was never fully answered on why he killed Ingrid, which is rather unsettling and deflating for her loved ones because why her? The answer died with Charlton. Now, this case leaves a different type of fear, the lack of closure. There's no confession, no trial, no explanation, just apparently a normal date followed by one of the most brutal outcomes imaginable. So my takeaway, if you're a lady, always bring mace to a first date. And I'm not talking about the fucking spray. No, that's stupid. I'm talking about real life warrior's mace, a massive one. If you show up with a fucking mace to your dates, no one is ever going to try to kidnap you. I would bring it with you until at least maybe 6 or 7 years after you marry, just in case he or she's playing the long game. You want to be ready. I just started leaving mine at home with dates with Julie. I didn't trust her. So, just saying.
You know what? I think it's important regardless of gender, because I know uh we we know that everyone's at risk. I think that statistically is more common for a guy to murder a woman for sure. Normally white men tend to be like the demographic that we should be most worried about. It's funny because the government's always like, immigrants. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like homebred, like white people tend to be like the mass shooters. So maybe we should focus on that demographic. So anyway, I guess my point is that everyone's at risk, some more than others. But I think it's a good idea for whenever you go on a date with a stranger, send a picture of that stranger to your best friend or like any confidant that you have, like local, and send like the address of the whereabouts and keep your friends posted. Like whenever I've gone on dates in the past, I've always been like, hey, just so you know, I'm going here. If you don't hear from me in 20 minutes, can you call me or what? You know what I mean? Like maybe I always have like I go to bars where I know the bartenders, like they can look out for me as well. And I even tell people like, just so you know, I sent your picture to my friends. So if you murder me, like you're gonna be really
Absolutely.
screwed.
Absolutely.
Share your location with your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. You got to have a way to keep yourself safe. And honestly, being open, you shared who they are already with someone. It's a good one. They, what are they gonna do? Unless they're fucking stupid. So, yeah. So be safe out there, people. But anyways, we are each down to one more. What you got?
So
Mr.
this one's a big one, and they made a whole Netflix documentary about it. And so there was a Netflix documentary a while back called "Don't Fuck with Cats: Hunting an Internet
So
Killer."
good. I meant to
Really
watch
good.
that as I'm gonna put this on at 1 a.m. to fall asleep to. And it was so good that even Julie woke up and was enthralled, and we ended up watching until 5 in the morning because we could not stop. And we just watched
Yeah.
every episode. It was 3 or 4 episodes, and we watched every single fucking thing that night. So good.
People that were like investigating this were a bunch of people from all these like Facebook groups, right? Wasn't it Facebook mostly? So they were trying to track down this guy named Luca Magnotta. He's a Canadian man who became notorious for posting videos of himself killing kittens, which is so sad, and it eventually escalated to the murder of a human being. So the killer, again, Luca Magnotta, I guess. I don't know. Luca. So he was like desperate for notoriety and attention. So he was like baiting the investigators by creating clues and eventually posts a video of the murder of this like sweet guy, a Chinese international student named Jun Lin in 2012. Jun Lin had an ex-boyfriend, and it didn't really work out because he had a lot of pressure from his family to like meet a nice lady and to get married and have kids. He actually, I think, he might have been married to a woman at one point. It didn't work out, and he was really struggling with his sexuality. And so, I believe that he met, um, I think he answered a Craigslist ad. So this was in 2012. He answered a Craigslist ad about gay bondage, some freaky stuff that Luca had posted. So he met Luca at a metro station before going to Luca's apartment. So there's a lot of footage of him going in, but like never coming out. Um, well, he came out, but in pieces, unfortunately. So June
Oh,
was
oh.
he was fatally stabbed and dismembered in Montreal, Canada, by Luca Rocco Magnotta, who then mailed Lynn's hands and feet to elementary schools and federal political party offices. So after a video that showed him mutilating Lynn's corpse was posted online, Magnotta fled Canada, becoming the subject of an Interpol red notice and
Yeah,
prompting an international manhunt. So ultimately, in June of 2012, he was apprehended in Berlin. So it was like an international like crisis, and it's
crazy.
all because he was obsessed with a particular movie.
I forgot. Do you remember the movie that he was obsessed
I
with?
can find it. Did it have like Sharon Stone in it or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. One where she like crosses her legs and shit. Fuck. Cruel Instincts or something.
Something like
Sharon,
that.
Sharon Stone leg cross. Well, Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct.
Okay.
Yeah, he was obsessed with Basic Instinct. That's what it was. Uh yeah, man. Fucking crazy, man. People
Yep.
are
He
nuts.
was
Check
inspired
that
by
out.
film Basic Instinct.
Definitely check that documentary out. Don't fuck with cats. Obviously, it goes into way more detail than what we just did here. It's honestly so good that you just can't top it. One of the better documentary series I've ever seen. Uh, so check that out. It's a good one. Great one to top your side of the list, Mr. Mo. And now,
Hmm.
for my number one, we're going to talk about Sydney Loof and Tinder. Sydney Loof was 24 years old at the time of her death in November 2017. She lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, and worked at a home improvement store. Friends described her as a social, funny, and very active online, someone who regularly updated people on her life. Now, on November 14th, 2017, she went on a first Tinder date with Bailey Boswell, 23 years old. Afterwards, Sydney texted a friend saying the date went well and that Bailey was really nice. That detail is important because it shows there were no immediate red flags. Now, the next day, November 15th, Sydney went to meet Bailey again. She told friends she was excited, but that was the last time she was ever heard from.
Well, just to clarify, Bailey is a woman, right?
Bailey's a woman, yes,
So Sydney went on a date with a female.
with a lady in Nebraska.
Okay.
When Sydney stopped responding, her family reported her missing. Investigators quickly traced her last known contact to Bailey Boswell. And from there, they identified Aubrey Trail as Boswell's partner. Aubrey is a guy, and quickly realized the two were together around the time Sydney disappeared. But when police tried to question her, Boswell and her boyfriend Aubrey Trail, 51 years old, didn't cooperate in a normal way. Instead, they posted a bizarre Facebook video claiming innocence. Trail went on rambling in almost like theatrical style monologues, with at one point saying, "We're not involved in this. We're not bad people." And the tone felt off, more like performance than concern. And as the investigation unfolded, authorities discovered that Boswell and Trail had been involved in a pattern of online manipulation and fraud. And they also used Tinder to meet Sydney. Plus, surveillance footage and witness sightings also placed Sydney with them. Eventually, Trell confessed that Sydney had been killed during what he described as a sexual encounter gone wrong, though prosecutors argued it was totally premeditated. Sydney's body had been dismembered into multiple pieces and scattered across rural Nebraska. It literally took weeks to recover her remains. Now, Aubrey Trell was convicted of first-degree murder in 2019 and sentenced to death. And Bailey Boswell was convicted in 2020 and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Trell even attempted suicide in court during trial, adding another disturbing layer to an already chaotic case. Now, this case is terrifying because Sydney did everything people say to do. You know, even we said it during this episode. They met someone, had a good first date, they kept their friends updated, and they still walked in a situation that had been building long before she ever swiped right. So my takeaway, if you don't want to go the mace route, get a sword. You know, like a lot of people have swords. It is only a little weird. Or go to like a sushi restaurant, right? And whittle yourself a shank out of some chopsticks during the date, right? Show him or her that you mean business. And I'm
I have
telling
a
you,
machete.
see, it works. It worked.
Yeah.
I learned that during reading the Lorena Bobbitt guide for cutting it out. And trust me, it helps. You don't even need to get to the last chapter. But if you do, whew, that punishment also totally works. It's a great kebab as well if you need to. So just say, check it out. Good read. Yeah, man, this one crazy because yeah, she did everything right. It was almost like I mean, she didn't send a picture of them, but she told them exactly who they were. Her. Obviously, she didn't know that this guy, this weird 52-year-old, was in the picture, which is weird that he's with this Bailey girl who is 23. That's its own can of worms right there. But yeah, like what could she have done different other than bring a sword? I'm telling you, it works.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about using the apps now, Mr. Mo? Are you ready to get back on that horse?
No way.
Yeah, it makes me very happy. I'm not in that world anymore. Julie, never leave me. I don't want to do the apps. I'm scared now.
My friends were like, "What apps are on?" None.
Yeah, Grubhub and DoorDash. That is what I'm on.
Yeah, TikTok.
That's right. And even those, you never know. So
It's true.
But anyways, that was our list, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Be careful out in these streets.
That's right. These hoes be killing people. So let us know what you thought of our list. Give us a shout out, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. Also, suggest us some topics, any ideas. You got any questions, any issues. You have your own dirty underwear stories to share, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you give us a follow on all social channels at Frat Chat Podcast. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. That's on Threads. That's on YouTube and Twitter/X. You can also give me a follow. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com. You can also follow me on all social media at Carlos Does the World. That's on Facebook. That's on TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Instagram. Carlos Does the World on Twitter/X. Last but not least, make sure you follow my good buddy CMO here at chris.moore.com on Instagram and TikTok. See more comedy. Oh, Mr. Mo, it is time for us to roll. So won't you please get us out of here?
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I second. All right, you guys will be back next week for another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts and time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'll see ya.
Ciao.